Hello, welcome to our home garden here. And I brought along with me a few little friends. Yes, they're little tomatoes, little bad boys that Catherine has recently grown on. And I'll describe to you what growing on is a bit later on. But this video is all about beating the tomato blight. Now, last year we were devastated with tomato blight, and the worst thing about it is that you nurture these little seedlings all year long, and then come August, some little virus devastates your entire crop, and there's nothing you can do about it, or is there? So this video is all about that, and our strategy for beating the tomato blight this year. And we're determined that we will be growing tomatoes, and perhaps you may want to follow us on this journey to see how we get on. But this is the start of it in our efforts to beat the tomato blight. So let's go. Now we grow our tomatoes obviously from seed in little pots like this, with a bit of vermiculite thrown in, and they come from a warm climate, so they need to be grown indoors, or possibly on a heat tray. But obviously they can't stay in this state, and they need to be potted on if they've got any chance of survival in the future. It's the next stage in the life cycle, and as Catherine is diligently potting these on to their individual pots. If we left them in them pots, they would just they'd just overcrowd each other, and they just wouldn't survive. So they need to be potted on, and so this is what we do every year. Last year we grew 3 varieties of tomatoes, and each variety was affected by the blight. We grew them in pots at home, so in a way we put all our eggs in one basket, and so when they do get affected by blight, it really it ran through the entire crop. So this year what we've decided to do is we've decided to edge our bets and plant more varieties, and try and find varieties online that were resistant to blight. And blight is basically, it's a disease that's specific to tomatoes and potatoes, and it can cause a complete collapse of the crops. It attacks the fruit and the foliage, causing it to rot. And you've nurtured these seedlings from cradle to grave, and it's devastating. The end of August, and you get this terrible disease sets in. So what I'm going to do now is, whilst Catherine is fantastically putting these little babies into their next growing stage, I'll talk about some of the types of tomatoes and flash up some photos of the said tomatoes that we'll be growing this year. So we're growing, for the first time for us, is purple Tomatillo, which is a kind of like a Mexican husk tomato. We've never grown this before, but it's it can be eaten raw, or it can be cooked in various dishes. Particularly good for salsa verde, and originates from Mexico. Part of the nightshade family. That's the thing about tomatoes. They are part of nightshade, which also includes deadly nightshade. But these edible. Thank God for us, it's edible. Next one is blight-resistant outdoor bush variety that we're growing is called Legend, which is an American type variety, good resistance to blight. Produces heavy crops of red glossy beefsteak tomatoes. So they look good, a super nice flavour. Outdoor variety, and it doesn't need pinching out. There are two types of tomatoes, for those who don't know. Ones are called determinates, which are bush varieties, which basically they grow to a basic size, and then they all the fruit all at once. And then there are cordon varieties, which are ones you have to pinch out, and if you don't pinch them out, they'll keep on growing and growing until they get hit by frost or something. Yeah. The next type of tomato we're growing this year is called Marglobe, which is a heirloom variety, an outdoor bush again, determinate, and this was developed in 1917. So it's a heirloom variety, disease resistance against blight. Yeah, a good all-round tomato to grow. We've never grown it before, so it should be interesting. We've got another variety, is a Rosentraub cordon indeterminate variety, which we hope to grow in possibly in the greenhouse or maybe outside the greenhouse. Rosentraub basically is German for a giant bunch of grapes. So these are little grape tomatoes. This variety was developed in the 1850s, and you get 30 or 40 little grape tomatoes on each vine. So a bit like I suppose Gardener's Delight, you know, but it looks like a really interesting variety. Another one is Flame. This is a container-grown variety. It's great for containers. Beefsteak cordon, again, disease-resistant. And it's a heirloom variety tomato with beautiful streaks on it, red streaks, developed in the 1800s, this variety. Another one is Black Opal, which is a blight-resistant variety again. Again, it's heirloom, disease-resistant, which is very important. And it's like it's a black cherry tomato. Well, it's dark, sort of, I suppose, blood red, isn't it? It's very dark cherry tomato. So that's an interesting variety. Again, a type that we've never grown before. We're also growing a thing called Heinz 1350, which is a variety that was developed by H.J. Heinz Company. You know, Heinz tomato beans. A perfect variety for making tomato sauce and for cooking with. So again, it's disease resistant, and it's a determinate bush variety, so we don't need to pick out on that. Alicia Craig, we're doing that as well. That's another popular. Here are the tomatoes that are potted on, and this is what they look like. So Alicia Craig is a heirloom variety we grew last year, developed in England in 1925. Heritage heirloom variety, prolific cropper. Also grown last year, Gardener's Delight, which is a standard one. Golden Sunrise, another lovely tomato, and Super Marmande. Now, all them three varieties were hit last year by blight, but you know, we're edging our bets. We're going to try them again and see what happens. Them tomatoes are looking beautiful there in their next stage of life. So let's see how we get on. Let's hope we don't get blight this year. We don't want blight. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, like our videos, and make a comment. Did you find it helpful? I hope that you got something out of it. So from here, I'd like to say farewell until next time. Bye now. Bye. Hi, how are you doing? Today we're going to do a vlog about beating the potato blight. No, we're not.